And men, I'm calling you out. There is a noticeable decline in masculinity. Being a craftsman, being a man, and being proud of it. It's okay to use a hot glue gun, but here are the requirements. It needs to be a DeWalt hot glue gun. The hot glue needs to be capable of giving you second-degree burns. And you need to use a 12-2 extension cord. And it needs to be at least 100 feet long. One way you can tell if you're using the right size extension cord, it's the size of your glue stick. Let's embrace being men, being tough. It's okay, but we're not crafting. We're doing construction. 20 years ago, I was 20 years younger, but I looked at things a little bit differently. I had less brain power and more muscle, so we didn't care about safety as much when we were doing rigging, hanging speakers, and I'm sad to say this, but there's been several times where we've dropped speakers from scaffolding and screwed them back together and hung them before our boss could find out about it. But now that I own the company, I look at things a little bit differently now. So in today's sound advice, I'm going to show you some techniques that I've learned how to safely install speakers in an auditorium. Also in this video, I want to show you some of the secrets behind hanging speakers and then also positioning to help you get maximum gain before feedback and a good quality sound. There it is right there, new speaker. Look at that old bad boy leaving. So this speaker is right in line with the steps of the platform. The speakers that they're taking out were right there, which were well behind the downstage most mic, which caused some feedback issues. So here's the downstage mic. You can see where the old speaker was. And I'm putting the new speaker just forward of that, so we're lined up right with the edge of the steps. One of the reasons why I chose this location is because our ceiling rafters or trusses are on 24-inch centers. So you can see there's a rafter right there. 24 inches that way is another rafter. 24 is right there. I went up in the attic and verified that we were 24 on centers and double checked my layout marks. These speakers are available in black and white. These are the Electro-Voice ZX3s. And on a white ceiling with a white speaker cabinet, they will disappear. The sound won't though. The sound will be very much in your face. Mounting on a hard lid ceiling has its own challenges, and if possible, I want to lag into the bottom of the ceiling rafters. That way I don't have to span from rafter to rafter with unistrut and then come down with all thread. It's a quick installation if those rafters line up. The easiest thing to do is lay out everything on the ground and then transfer your marks up to the ceiling. String line will be the tools of choice, and then I will also use a plumb bob laser and some tape. So what I'm going to do is use the laser. I know where my 24-inch centers are on the rafters, and I'm going to shoot the plumb bob from the ground up, tape it, mark it on the floor with tape. Next, we want to line up the speakers center of the pews. From this wall to center is 121 inches, so I'll measure out 121 inches from the wall to the center. Okay, there we are, dead center on that mark. And if I put the plumb bob center on the tape, center on the string line, that puts it right there. With the bracket centered on that string line, we'll shoot points up for all the main holes. The ceiling is sloped, but the bracket is flat on the floor. So rather than drilling straight up, I'm going to actually drill at an angle, so I'm 90 degrees from the ceiling. gonna mark that dot for now, and that'll give me an idea where to line that up. Now if I would have drilled that hole from the bottom, you can see where the mark is right there. It's been about a ½ inch off. That all has to do with the angle. I do want to line up with that line right there. Okay, got a couple more holes to drill. This one will be a little bit bigger. This eye bolt is what we'll use to pull up the speakers. These are tie-down straps that you would use for tying down motorcycles, stuff on trailers. I took my bandsaw and cut off the actual hooks, and I put these clevises on. Whenever you do overhead rigging, you can't have an open-end hook. It has to have a spring latch on it, or like a bow shackle or clevis. These have a working load limit of 1,000 pounds. Okay, everything's ready to go. First, remove the feet. Two rings, plate, and 4 screws. Rinse and repeat. Now we got 2 screws. These are for the yoke. Even though your hands may be clean, you're gonna get dirty prints all over them. So I put plastic over it to help protect the finish. I will clean it after I'm done with the install though. I'm gonna take this other end of the strap and wrap it around the speaker and choke it. It's ready to go up. This is the fun part. My favorite song and dance, balancing on a ladder, the weight of the speaker right over my head. It's speaker yoga. Okay, now the green strap comes off. We take out the eye hook, we drill a bigger hole, run a 3/8 leg up into that center screw opening. Then we're almost done with this part. We'll get to use one of my favorite tools putting this in. I have 2 right angle drills. This is a dedicated drill. This is a right angle attachment for your impact driver. This is impact rated, where that drill is not. Outside of using a ratcheting wrench, there is no other way to do what I just did. Now we can take the plastic down. I'm gonna loosen up this original screw just a little bit so I can lift up the speaker bracket and line up the threads for this button screw. Two little final details. We're gonna pop that Electro-Voice sticker off. Now the Electro-Voice EV is right side up. Tub of towels. One final hole to drill, and that is for the speaker cable and the safety cable. Now we need to make sure that we miss the 2x4, or sorry, it's probably like a 2x6 rafter. So I'm going to come over here And I missed it. You can see how that just sucked that drill bit in. I'm gonna take this fiber fish. That way I'll be able to go up into the attic now and find it. I found the speaker line. We ran new speaker line to the house speakers about a year ago, anticipating this day. So I've got it pulled back, rerouted. I'm gonna slide down the trusses without falling through the ceiling. Ooh, that doesn't sound like that was good. See that hole right there? So I wasn't too far off of that 2x6. Pretty good. And here is the safety cable. I'll choke it around this 2x4. And then the rest of it will get shoved down that hole. If anything fails, that catches that. If this 2x4 fails, we got bigger problems. The black conductor is going on 1-. The white conductor is going on 1+. 2+, 2- will not be used. We'll do the Crosby cable clamp. In the cable clamps, there's a thing called never saddle a dead horse, so your tail, which is that right there, needs to go on top of the bail. And then we'll cut the tail with the lineman's. And men, I'm calling you out. There is a noticeable decline in masculinity. Being a craftsman, being a man, and being proud of it. It's okay to use a hot glue gun, but here are the requirements. If you're a man, it needs to be a DeWalt hot glue gun. The hot glue needs to be capable of giving you 2nd-degree burns. And you need to use a 12-2 extension cord. Extension cord needs to be at least 100 feet long. One way you can tell if you're using the right size extension cord, it's the size of your glue stick. So let's embrace being men, being tough. It's okay, but we're not crafting. We're doing construction. I'm gonna take this hot glue gun and I'm gonna dab a little bit of hot glue on here, and I'm gonna set this black cable on the back side of this bail and bring it down. That way it will hide nicely from the front of house. And then I'll do a couple tacks of glue to hold the safety cable against the black cable. Perfect. Looks good. And there it is right there. 2 speakers still hanging in the air. That's always a good sign at the end of the project. Again, I chose the Electro-Voice ZX3s with the 60x60 horn. That way it'll push the sound back in this 250-seat auditorium. Thanks for watching. I'm Jude, and this is my sound advice. Also, I'm going to show you some of the tech